Hello everyone, this is Joe the Orange, and today I am playing Javelins with Caesar. Unfortunately, I only have tier 4 Javelins on the Roman side. Wait, that's a fucking lie, I have the tier 6 ones, but they suck balls. They really do fucking suck balls. Because what's the most important ability on Javelins? It's fucking focus fire. Their range is shit. You know, most of your damage comes from, well, in heaps of matches, most of your damage comes from focus fire. Because your range is so shit, you have to wait for someone to engage. I'll talk about that later. So you may be wondering why I'm making a video on Javs even though I fucking hate them so much. Well, the reason is, one of my subs asked me to make a video on them using 3 Javelin units. I tried that, I fucking hated it. Got ran over by Cav 24/7, so I've spiced it up. I've brought some spears with me instead of just 3 Javelin units. It works out way better, and if I get to higher tiers and I'm using Javs, I'll probably bring some medium swords. As far as viable commanders with Javelins, to me the only one is Caesar. Because you need that fucking silence, because your range is so short, by the time you get into range, it's almost charging distance. So you need to be able to silence them so they can't charge you. And look at this shit, so that's the guys I am meant to counter. And that's my damage. That's my fucking damage there. That's it. That's what I get. That's fucking And this is the thing that fucks me off most about Javelins and why I think they're just completely fucking useless. So that was Alexander with spears I was shooting at, right? So I shoot at that cunt. He doesn't have ray shields or anything, and he's still blocking my Javelins. I mean, if I wanted to be countered by a fucking missile block and heavies and all that shit, I'll just play fucking archers and I have twice the range. See, at least when I play Caesar I can do something, so I've gone up and silenced and buffed my allied unit. I've silenced the enemy, buffed my allies, and that's why he's going to smash him in melee combat. Of course I'm going to get my other unit around, my spear unit, into the back of this spear unit and put more buffs on them. And that's why I think Caesar's, you know, the only one. Because Javelins are always in range to buff your allies, because their range is so shit, they need to be right up behind the melee units. And the thing is with Javelins, since their range is so fucking small, you know, you click to turn around and then shoot because that's quicker. You know, you click so the fire arc faces that unit and then you shoot instead of just clicking on the unit. So that way you get one volley in. If you just click on the fucking unit, you don't even get one volley. I mean, they're so fucking shit. It's like, oh man, you get like 1 or 2 volleys, and look, this is fucking heavies. I got like 1 or 2 volleys in. Did fuck all damage, now I gotta run away. Great. Fucking awesome. Did no damage. And if it wasn't for Caesar's ability to kite for fucking days, Javelins just wouldn't be viable at all. And that's why Caesar can't have nice things like Greek archers and Greek slingers, because he's so fucking good with Javelins even. You know, like, imagine if you gave him good range units. He'd just be fucking bullshit. And now look, they've engaged my swords, but I've silenced all his abilities and I've buffed my own unit. So now they're fucked. Those, oh sorry, they engaged my spears, but now they're fucked because of the buffs my Javelins gave to my spear units. I'm too used to Romans having swords, not spears. And the thing is, if you go through this game, the only reason any of this shit has worked is because of Divide and Conquer and what Vinny, I think it is movement buff. If you remove those 2 abilities, and you say I was on any other commander, I'll be fucked. It's only because Caesar is so good with Javelins. No other commander can use them. Alexander maybe slightly. And I think this is one of the reasons that Caesar's so shit with every other unit, because he's basically made to play range units. But if he had any good range units, he'll be overpowered. Like, it's just fucking, yeah. So Caesar's good with Javelins. What else is he good with? Catapults. Yeah. I was fucking, you know, I like Caesar kind of. I'm 50-50. I think he's limited in what he can play. But, you know, he's really good with certain units. Now, in this next part of the video, you'll notice a big problem with fucking Javelins, right? So, everyone you know, when melee units see another melee unit, they have to engage. Especially at this tier. They must go in. They must go in. Instead of just letting you shoot the fuck out of him when he's in a Phoenix stance. And I had no idea why I ran my Javelins in there. I thought it was my spear unit. Pretty fucking retarded on my part too. But they should have just let me shoot him down. And then look at this fuckwit. I mean, this dipshit's so fucking bad. Even when he's trolling, he sucks at it. He used focus fire on my spears instead of my Javelins. He would have got a fuck ton more friendly fire if he had used focus fire on my Javelins. Would have killed a ton more. So even when this cunt is trolling, he's fucking shit. And that's when you know you really suck at this game. When you're going out of your way to fucking ruin someone else's day, and you're so shit you can't even do that. I mean, come on. If you're going to troll someone, well, that's the whole thing. This guy still ended up with positive points. So you got this cunt taking that Archer unit around, trying to troll our team, and somehow it still ends up with positive points. That's how shit this cunt is at trolling. He tried to fucking lose points for the team, and somehow got positive points. And they're using a DC player to troll. And that's the thing, I didn't even know you could get positive points on someone that's DC. Usually their points stay pretty fucking low. Anyway guys, I'm rushing back to the base. I'm going to decap some people because of those extra points you get for it. And by the way guys, what do you think about the new dailies where you don't get gold, but you do get 200% XP instead of 100%? For me, it's a good thing because I already had some gold. You know, I've got a bunch of gold from all those weeklies they had. Well, those weekends where they gave you like 2,000 gold per game, per win. But I can only imagine for new players, it's a pain in the ass. I'm not sure though. And this is where I really rack in the points, because what happens is, and I think they should fucking remove this, if you decap people, you get massive points. And what does that say to people playing this game? You know, what does that say? It means, if you want fucking ridiculous points, camping is good. There's a lot of things in this game that say, doing fuck all and just sitting in the cap point is good. And I hate that shit. I reckon they should remove all this. But in this game, it worked out for me, because I can just keep decapping them and racking up points. And it's a ridiculous amount of points. I think it was something like 2,000 points from decapping. That's probably an over-exaggeration. It's probably more like 1,000 points. But the whole thing is, the whole thing where if you sit in your cap point and you can't be routed and you get bonus points, just says that you should camp. It should just be you don't get any bonuses. It's just sometimes a good strategy. You know, that's the whole battle. There shouldn't be any bonus points for fucking being defensive or even being offensive. You know, it should just be that was a good idea. It won you the game. And yeah, I'm an offensive player, and the reason I don't want points for being offensive is that there is no points now. There's capping. It's like you might get 300 points. Ooh. But if there's no points for being offensive like there is now, basically, then why is there points for being defensive? You know, why is that the case? Where when you cap, you can't rack up 1,000 points. It actually caps out. After you reach a certain point, you can't get any more points for capping. And you can get decapped, and those cunts keep those points. But let's move on to the second game, and I did, just while we load this fucking game up, I did say to people I am doing a video on matchmaking, but I did have to restart that video, and it does take a lot of effort. It's probably going to be another few days, because I started it before the patch, where you had to estimate who was group queued and whatnot. Now you can see who is group queued. So that video I will have to remake now that this patch has came out, and I will have to go over 30 or 40 videos to see how matchmaking actually does work. But before this patch, I just took into account people I knew that were group queued against most likely solid queued people, because people I didn't recognize in the higher tier games. And the higher tier games are way more unbalanced than CA's graph, because in CA's graph they count tier 1 to tier 4, which is always fucking balanced usually. Well, my graph is showing something completely different. Like if I face a clan that had 4 players versus random cunts, most likely not group queued, the average tier difference was 11.4%. Well, 11.4 tiers, not percent, sorry. Which means their unit tiers were so much fucking higher, it was more than one player can even accomplish. There is no 11.4 tier units. It goes up to 10. So the clans had more than 2 players advantage over the solo queued people, and they have organization. It was fucking mind blowing how unfair it was. And that's why tier 7, of course, like I've gone over this 100 times, was much better than queuing with tier 9, because you're always going to be against the clans when you solo queue. And then you have less tiers, and then you have no organization. Everything is against you when you solo queue with tier 9 units. It's just, that's the way the fucking system works. And going back to the gameplay, so you can see there I advanced and then I shot those units. And you might be thinking, oh, what happens when Cav comes? The thing is, I am Caesar. I can silence their charges and get away. You know, that's why Caesar can do shit like that. Of course, if I didn't have my spears reasonably close by, I couldn't get away with that. But, you know, that's what it buys me enough time to get back to my spears away from Cav. And here's the example here. So here comes the Cav. And then the Cav chicken shits out. And I just got a Steam message. And apparently this guy's trying to play a higher tier solo queue. And the queues are 70 minutes long. And that might sound like a bad thing, but to me it's actually a good thing. Because even while I am making this video, they are still fucking around with matchmaking, trying to make it more balanced. They're putting some effort into this shit. That's why it keeps changing. That's why I can't ever do this fucking video that I plan to do, because they keep changing how matchmaking works since the last patch. There's 70-minute queues now. They obviously figured out, oh well, there's heaps of unbalance at higher tiers when people solo queue, so we'll try to get them into it. Like they're taking all that shit into consideration. That's why the matchmaking is fucked up at the moment, because they keep changing shit. Now back to the game. As you can see, I used my focus fire to get a bunch of points and whittle them down as much as possible, but now I do have to sacrifice my speed unit so my javelins can get away. Now I do run one of my javelin units back to try and buff my speed unit, but the problem is, if you have 1 or 2 guys stuck in combat, you can't get those buffs off, and they get cancelled the minute, you know, one of your guys get hit. So it's just a really fucked up situation. If you know, you need perfect circumstances basically to get your buffs off. So now I'm just trying to survive. I'm just trying to get away, and that's the thing. Like, okay, I could play barbarians, and they're basically javelins with melee combat abilities. So in this situation, I could have just killed that spear unit, and then I could use well, I basically got the same abilities as javelin units when I play barbarians, and I will have a video at the end showing the barbarian pilums, where hell they can destroy fucking units. They do just as much as javelins, but they have melee abilities. Now back to that matchmaking thing. Apparently they have introduced, while I'm making this video, tier banding. If they have introduced that, it has increased the high tier queue time by a fuck ton. They're waiting in queue for 30 minutes just for a fucking game. So what they have to do now is, obviously, they have to have a week where the bonus XP is exponential, like maybe 250% or 200%, like something fucking ridiculous. So there's a bunch of people at higher tiers, because this is close speeder. You know, you want to have some fucking people at higher tiers before the game gets released, and that's not going to be the case if the queue times for higher tiers is 30 minutes. Everyone's just got to keep playing tier 4 units. Something has to be fucking done. There's not enough players for tier banding at the moment. You know, because there's not enough higher tier players. You need to do something. Maybe just hand out a bunch of fucking XP to people that are stuck at tier 5 and shit. Or maybe make the rewards for playing higher tiers much better than playing lower tiers. That's, I don't know, I'm just thinking of the top of my fucking head while I make this video. And yeah, so we'll probably talk about that now instead of Javelins, Jazz. I was meant to make a Javelin video, but we'll probably concentrate more on this new information about tier banding. Okay, so I've been told people have been waiting in queues for tier 7 to tier 10 games for 30 minutes. So they definitely need higher tiers. You know, they need more people playing higher tiers. There needs to be some incentive for people to play those units. And I presume that the tier banding is from tier 7 to tier 10. They might have to change that to tier 6 to tier 10 for a short period of time. Because there's a lot of tier 6s, not so much for tier 7 to tier 10. The other option is to give people a massive experience boost. And I know they're like, oh, but that's how they make their money with premium accounts, etc. But this is beta. To get this game off the fucking ground, you want it to, you need people playing games, you need people having fun. So they introduce other players to the fucking game. That's the thing. You're trying to make money now when you yourself say it's closed beta. So this isn't the period for you to just trying to be making money. And I understand it's a business and all, and you need to make money, but this is in closed beta, so maybe you should get a bunch of people to the higher tiers now, so when people level up, it's more of an even experience instead of this big jump from being low tier to higher tier. And obviously, if people reach the higher tiers and they've got a 30-minute wait time, they're not going to fucking play. So XP weekend might actually help you, and that would only raise the experience for one unit since they can't get gold from dailies now. But we'll just have to wait and see. This just happened in the last fucking few seconds. Unfortunately, I have to run now, so we'll talk about that later in the next video. I hope you guys like this video. Please subscribe and thumbs up and all that shit.